and they're very, very talented. I think that what made it so impressive was they didn't have Todd Gurley. They needed Jared Goff to be a force multiplier, and he was. He made the throws he needed to make. He was under duress late in the game. Off his back foot, he's able to get the ball out to the flat to pick up a big gain, get them just enough yardage to be able to kick that field goal. So I think how they did it was very impressed. We know the noise, it wasn't getting any quieter.
No.
So later in the game, the ability to be able to function where, man, they could have been blown out in this game early with that slow start, huge turnover early, being able to recover from that. With Jared Goff, with the questions being on him, I thought Sean McVay and them did a great job of protecting him, come up with a great game plan, and he delivered enough throws for them to be able to get the win.
I'm glad you focus on Jared Goff because I want to talk about the other people surrounding him. The reason it wasn't a blowout early is the Rams defense showed up early and throughout the game. But that first drive for the Saints, drive down the field, hold them to a field goal. Then the quick change after the Gurley, where it went through his hands, intercepted, they hold him to a 3-and-out. 8 yards, they're kicking another field goal. And then the Rams special teams, they did to the Saints the exact thing the Saints did to the Eagles. The Saints in a similar spot, down 14-0 against Philadelphia. They went for a fake punt, and they got it. They're down 13-0. They go for a fake punt, and even gutsier one because it's more than 1 yard to gain and involves your punter, who was a quarterback once upon a time, throwing the football. And credit to the coaching staff for believing that Greg Zuerlein can hit a 57-yard field goal. That is a big play that if they miss it, we are here this morning saying, should they have punted? You know what I mean? Was that smart to give Drew Brees the ball at midfield? They trusted Greg the Leg Zuerlein to be able to hit that kick. He had a nails 48-yarder to put it to overtime, and then a 57-yarder to win it.
And I think his long was only 61, so it was really close to that. But on Thursday or Friday last week, Eric Mangini made an interesting point about this Rams defense. He said sometimes towards the end of the season, when you know you're going to make the playoffs, everything sort of gets routine, you get a little bored, and maybe the defense isn't as focused or engaged as they maybe should be, but he thought they would bring it in the game like this. Did you think they were playing as engaged, or, I mean, the kind of defense we assume they would be when this defense was all put together earlier in the year?
What Coach Mangini talked about is veteran players, the mundane of the regular season, and them having a gear or two that they can go to. Because there's no way a player is coasting. But when you have players like Ndamukong Suh, when you have players like Talib, when you have players like that came over, Peters, that came over from other teams, and they're there for this year. They're hired guns to try to win this year. It's easy to be, because they're talented. That's why they got an extra gear to go to, and most of them have been in some type of playoff format, some type of sudden death experience. So this is what I expected from the Rams. I thought they were good. They came into this game healthier, and that health proved out throughout that overtime.
And in a copycat league, I hope teams take what the Rams did this offseason and look at acquiring super talented players that might have some questions or some reason they're available, and saying, you know what, if our infrastructure and culture is good enough, we're going to get the most out of them. I'll tell you this much. The team that didn't have Marcus Peters last night, the Kansas City Chiefs, wish they did. And the team that did have him is glad they traded for him. Ndamukong Suh, for the second straight playoff game, was extraordinary. Aqib Talib did an excellent job. We talked about what C.J. Anderson was able to do. They went for it this year, and now they're one game away from having it all pay off.
And credit to Wade Phillips for making sure all those personalities were focused just on football this season. All right. For the third straight year, Tom Brady, he's got Super Bowl plans. He'll be in Atlanta if you need him. He and the Patriots took down the Chiefs 37-31 to earn the right to head to his 9th Super Bowl, his 4th in the last 5 years. On the way, he completed his 12th career game-winning drive in the playoffs. That is the most ever. It's a lot of accolades for Tom Brady, and he's well aware of how special the moment is.
These are memories, you know, that'll last a lifetime. And I said a few weeks ago, I'm blessed to find something that I love to do, that I love to work at. And that's probably been the biggest blessing in my life. I love, you know, working hard at trying to make improvements. And every year we start at a different place. And, you know, I love the grind of it, you know, being in the moment. And, you know, this was just an incredible win.
CC, I feel like I asked you this question at every turn, at every sort of momentous event for Tom Brady. But here we are now heading back to the Super Bowl. How does he keep doing this at this age, at this level?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how he stays focused. I don't know how a person can accomplish what they've accomplished and still be being into the details. Now, as far as his body, how he was able to keep his body in shape to have this type of career, no one knows. He's not a great athlete. He's one of the worst athletes that we have playing the quarterback position. But he's been able to manage because he's fallen in love with the whole process. And that's the grimy part. You know, I'm going to make sure I monitor what I eat in my body so that I have the right type of energy so that I can get the maximum out of my career. Also, what they do on a day-in, day-out basis in New England, he hadn't gotten burned out. I don't know why. There's no one else besides Belichick that's been there that whole time, and we saw cracks in this relationships over the last couple years with the Garoppolo, but they've been able to manage it. And Tom Brady has continued to get better as he's gotten older. In these clutch situations, he's better with his overall experience, and he has the best help that's ever been granted to any type of professional athlete. Like we talk about, well, Michael Jordan got coached by Phil Jackson. Well, he's been coached by the best. And Josh McDaniel, he's been with Belichick 15 of the 19 years. The offensive line coach, Dante Scarnecchia, they dominated the Chiefs in the interior. He's been with him 17 of the 19 years. Brady's benefited from that. You know, Josh McDaniel said they're going to play Eric Berry. We're going to have several snaps in the game where Eric Berry's going to be guarding him man-to-man. So he gets Brady and the other offensive players in the hotel ballroom the morning of the game. He's going to put in 8 new plays. Who has help like that? Only Tom Brady. So you got to be able to pass some of this credit around. Football, man, is the ultimate team game. And I say it all the time. I hate team sports. Well, without the assistance of all these other things, you know, Tom Brady is not who he is. Tom Brady has done his part, but there are other people in that canoe doing a hell of a lot of rowing also, and we need to be able to finally give them credit.
And the reason this morning before the show, you said multiple times, that's why I hate team sports, is the narrative surrounding Brady today, not his legacy, not his career, but his performance last night, is so dramatically different if D Ford lines up 6 inches back like he's supposed to. On this play, the game's over here, by the way. It was a bad throw. Gronk couldn't pull it in. It's Chiefs ball up 4, game over.
As my trusty statistician information person, Jamila says, it's like Pop Warner. It's the basics of all football.
Just don't line up past the ball. Can we show America if D Ford wasn't offsides what Tom Brady's stat line for this game would have been? Because it would not have been the stuff of legends. 1 touchdown, 3 picks, a pick in the end zone, a pick to end the game, and a 63 rating. The problem is, much like the Chargers learned in a divisional playoff game a decade ago, 12 years ago actually, Tom Brady threw a pick to end that football game, and then Troy Brown came around and forced a fumble, and then Brady didn't make another mistake. From that moment forward, Tom Brady completed 5 passes. A 25-yard pass to Gronk on 3rd and 5, 3 passes on 3rd and 10, a pass on 1st and 10, all 4 first downs.
And all 3 of those interceptions would have been blatantly his fault.
Yes.
Leading Edelman across the middle, trying to fit it in a tight spot. The ball's too high. It gets tipped. It gets intercepted. At the goal line, throwing one low to Gronkowski compared to throwing one by the crossbar, intercepted by Reggie Ragland, the linebacker there. In this one, he wanted to throw the ball down the field, but couldn't get his feet set. And at the last minute, tries to throw one to Gronk in the in the flat too hard. It gets deflected. It gets intercepted.
And the game's over. Like, I know the Pats had 3 timeouts. The Chiefs win the game. And we are talking totally different scenario. And that's one of the problems with when we don't have the benefit of being in the moment. When we just look at guys' careers and stack up how many Super Bowls, and this is why for Brady, it's almost a non-factor because he has so many amazing appearances and numbers. But in 10 years, are people going to remember, oh, Drew Brees didn't go because they blew that call? And Tom Brady wouldn't have gone, but D Ford lined up off sides. Like, so Brady, I want to make this clear because obviously I picked against the Pats. I've thought that this was going to be the end of the run. I am not a Tom Brady skeptic on what he's accomplished. He is the greatest quarterback ever, and he's lapped the field at this point. But there are lucky bounces, and there are institutional and infrastructure advantages that you're talking about, which is Tom Brady didn't hold the Chiefs to 0 points in the first half.
No.
And Tom Brady didn't. He had the great pass to Phillip Dorsett in the first half. It was a running game, Belichick, defensive game plan. They gave the Pats
ran the ball 48 times. Now, I know Tony Romo swear up and down on the telecast that Tom Brady audibled in
all of them.
He's just making up stuff on the telecast, all right? Because there's no way that he has the power to build audible in Kansas City like that. But the amount of help that he gets. Now, he's the one that kept himself fresh. He's the one that kept himself current. He's the one that kept him in the offseason. He goes to Montana and plays catch with Edelman that no one knows about. Now, he's done all those things.
Right.
But the assist that he's getting along the way is legendary also.
And he's the one, he's Michael Myers, man. You better cut his head off. Because if you give him this much, the moment that I polled Chiefs fans on the moment that you saw the offsides, it's like, oh, they're scoring a touchdown. Just hope they score quick enough. Mahomes gets the ball back. He does get the ball back. They kick the field goal, and then it came down to the coin flip. And once Brady got that coin flip,
the Patriots got the coin flip. That's it. You knew it was over.
Good night. And
because
Brady,
when the moment is that big, you forget all the little things. Which you're right. He's not as crisp, as fine-tuned as he used to be. But when the moment counts and the moment's there, he delivers.
And even in overtime, after the first play of overtime, Tom Brady did not complete a pass on first or second down. You know what he did? He completed a pass on 3rd and 10 for 20 yards, on 3rd and 10 for 15 yards, and on 3rd and 10 for another 15 yards. And it should be noted, the Pats were not in 4-down territory in any of those spots. If the first two, either the first two are incomplete, they're punting. And if the third one's incomplete, they're kicking a field goal, and the Chiefs get the ball. So it's a weird spot where for 59 minutes, I do not think Tom Brady was good, and there was an interception in the game. And then in the final minute in overtime, he was Tom Brady. And that's how you go to your 9th Super Bowl.
It's amazing.
9.
All right, still ahead, we're going to discuss why the Patriots are favored to win their 6th Super Bowl in 18 years. That's next on First Things First.
I don't think they're favorites.
No, it moves.
They are.
They went the other way now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chicago.